Oh, hello, and welcome to Dente, Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist, and tonight I have a returning guest.
Actually, this is pretty much. Hello, I'm Adam, and this is kind of the equivalent of when you have a friend go, "Hey, man, come over here and drink some beer with me," and then you walk in the house and there's like a pile of sheetrock and some nails, and you're like, "Fuck!" In Shanghai.
Yeah, yep. Or like, hey, you want to come over to the cottage for like some barbecue and beer, and then like, oh, by the way, we gotta like bring the docks in. Like, I was wondering why you wanted me to come to the cottage in November.
It's when you know you got a friend. It's like they don't leave.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. At some point, it's just gonna like boil down to like you've been on the show like so many times. It's just gonna be like I'm just gonna be like, oh hi, I'm Review Cultist, and then you're just gonna go into like, oh, and I'm Adam from RPX.
Yeah. I'm working up for that, and the Redbubble coffee mug that is complimentary. You know what I mean?
Yes, yeah. Oh god, I got to buy a couple of those and just give them to Owen at Gen Con.
I'm doing the same thing. Oh, Lord. So this is my fault. I'm going to go ahead and just throw this out here, even though I bitched about you like Shanghai me. Like, it's really like paying it back because I was like, hey, man, when we were looking into our regional kind of creepypasta, it's like, oh, here's one that's real close to my house. And then I read it.
And then I read it. Yeah. Well, apparently Reddit also read it and did not approve that very much because they removed it. What we, I might leave. I'll probably leave the document or maybe the way back link in the description. But yeah, this we had to do the deep dive into the internet and use the way back machine to actually acquire this story because it has been removed since last we read this.
Yeah, they buried Dracula, but someone brought him back.
Yeah, there's always those essential salts. You just got to resurrect them.
Exactly.
We should probably mention what we're doing, what story this is.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, now this is a hell of a title. Like, so will you please lay it on us here?
All right, so this is There's Something in the Woods in Slade, Kentucky. Is that the whole thing?
Yes, that is
Okay.
the whole thing, and it was written by SunflowerSenpai.
Yep. Which is kind of appropriate for something we're going to talk about later, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
As I think about it.
So,
yeah.
So yeah, go ahead and start us off. I feel like this thing shot my dog, and I'm going after it for revenge. I'm really. It's like, I think the word I'm looking for is absolution. That's what I'm seeking here.
Okay. Well, so this is done up in a Reddit no sleep. This is totally real, you guys. Kind of format, and like they're asking for help on this account or this encounter they've had in Slade, Kentucky. Did we ever actually get their name, or is it just their friends' names?
All their friends' names, and I do have an issue with that is going to come up as we keep going. But yeah, this is an unnamed narrator, which if you were thinking about great horror tropes,
that is that's such a staple in creepypastas. Like to the point where my other hosts have we just call them Nair, A Tor. Like their first name is Nair, their middle name is A, and their last name is Tor. Sorry, I interjected.
No, I had nothing else to run with that. But so doing a deep dive into this, I do feel like, and I'm sorry, listeners, but I do feel like I'm going to have to read half a paragraph to you. This is just an example, okay? So, like, I'm going to give you, here's a whiff of it, and then we'll take care of the rest of it. So, all right. I know this is a Reddit no sleep and everything is presumed to be true, so I came here. It's a fucking hotbed of truth, isn't it? My friends and I are looking for help and answers, and I have some for them later, trust me. I won't be using any of our real names in this story. I'd like to begin by saying that I personally was not actually present for the first part of this story. I will be telling this part from third person's perspective. I'm glad that your English teacher went over it this week. But first, some background. We are all residents of Louisville. We are all in our 20s. And we are all best friends. There's me, my boyfriend, Byron, Jess, and Nicole, who are married, and Kara. We love to spend our days hanging out at Jess and Nicole's house, smoking, watching movies, playing board games, and just enjoying each other's company. We're all pretty open-minded. We believe in the paranormal and love the thrill of being scared. We're also huge bundles of anxiety, as millennials trying to get their shit together often are. That's a real special area of self-deprecation there, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, just a little bit.
All right, now here we go. I got to get to the rest of this, and I promise you all, this is my last big deep dive. So we like to get out of Louisville every once in a while to be closer to nature and relax. Our favorite place to go is Red River Gorge. For those of you unfamiliar with the area, Red River Gorge is an area popular with rock climbers, hikers, and campers in eastern Kentucky. It is part of the I can't even speak. It is part of the Daniel Boone National Forest and immediately near Natural Bridge State Park. What measurement? Now, when you see a tree, turn immediately. I mean, that's like, I don't know. Anyway,
yeah. I think it might be like generalizing a little bit. It's like, well, if you look at Google Maps, it's right next to this.
yeah. It has dense forests and dozen natural sandstone arches. That's the sentence. The
Yeah.
views are absolutely breathtaking, and it's definitely one of my favorite places in the world. It's one of those places that makes you feel small and insignificant in a peaceful way. Well,
Yeah.
I'm glad that the Kentucky Chamber of Commerce could step in here real quick and plug Slade, Kentucky for you.
This Reddit no sleep story brought to you by the state of Kentucky.
We have three things to look at in Kentucky. Four. We have an ark that some asshole built. We have a creation museum that has dinosaurs in it. We have Natural Bridge State Park, and we have Mammoth Cave. We're going to find us a Mammoth Cave story later on, but till then, here we go. So, Creighton, do you have any questions about Kentucky or Slade or Louisville, for that matter?
Well, I'm familiar with Louisville through a couple of things because, one being Return of the Living Dead.
Yeah.
The second one being actually a Slender vlog series called 502, where the entire series is set there, and the first 10 entries of the series starts off as actually kind of like an amateurish tour guide of Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
Slade and Red River Gorge, I literally have in my notes it's like our favorite place to go to is Red River Gorge, and then my comment to it is Google this. So are they actually? So here's a question: is Red River Gorge and Daniel Boone National Park and Natural Bridge State Park, are they all basically all the same, or are they actually separate?
Red River Gorge is part of the Daniel Boone National
Gotcha. Okay,
the parks, and Daniel Boone actually, I live pretty much in Daniel Boone National Park, so to speak. Like, I drive down the road and my phone will pop up. Google will be like, "Hey, did you enjoy your trip to Daniel Boone National State Park?" I'm like, I just went down to the fucking barn. Yes, it was great. I will give you my Yelp review. But all right, so here's the deal, and I've kind of mentioned this to you off air, but in general, uh, Daniel Boone, not Daniel Boone, Slade, Kentucky. I could be there in 30 minutes,
Yeah.
roughly. If I start driving immediately, I could, be there in 30 minutes. It's part of the Appalachian Mountains, and there's obviously a river going through, but like a lot of people go there because it's beautiful. There's hiking trails. Sheer cliffs that crazy ass people will climb up and stuff like that. There is, and I'm trying to talk a bunch of people into doing this with me this summer, but there's even like a flooded gravel quarry where they hit a spring,
Oh
and it
wow.
flooded the quarry. And now you can do tours there with kayaks. So it'll give you like a headlamp, and you will basically go into a hollowed out mine.
I
And it's
imagine it's
really
not like sorry. I imagine it's not like in the new It movies where like you can just jump off the cliff and like go swimming into the quarry.
there are places like that in Eastern Kentucky. I jumped off one and broke my tailbone one time. Like
Ooh.
it was, well, 40 feet to do that to you if you
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
land it.
yeah.
But I have not found that place in River Gorge. Not to say that it doesn't exist. Now, Natural Bridge, which is they're all in that same area, like Red River Gorge, is where Natural Bridge is, and it's a fairly, at least for here. And I mean, you'll see people from out of state come here too. But it's a nice little. There's several hiking trails. It's even got like ski lifts and stuff like that. But you just walk up to the top of this mountain, and there's this huge sandstone arch that you can walk across, and that's pretty much it. But you got a beautiful view and stuff like that. So I'm kind of familiar with the area just from going there as a kid, and I've taken my children up there. Uh, I can immediately tell that this person is familiar with the region. I can get it pretty much from like they got time distance that it would take probably to get from Louisville to Slade, but also just there's little bits and pieces, or as I like to call it, the Kentucky Board of Tourism that pops out throughout the story that, you would have
Yeah.
to be somebody who'd been here to really hear about it. You
Mhm.
know?
So basically, like we're kind of getting a little bit of a propaganda style slash
Yeah,
like a tour guide of Slade, Kentucky.
yeah, exactly. Now, narratively speaking, from it, and I know I'm kind of hogging this whole stage here, and I'll step back.
No, it's all good. I mean, this is this is your state.
The the entire story, I would like to go ahead and preface this. I feel like a bad person every time I say something horrible about this story because in my mind, I think this was written by a high school student. Like,
Yeah.
I'm an English teacher, well, former English teacher. I do computer science now. They screwed that up too. But I'm used to reading like high school papers and fiction and stuff like this. And I'm not going to knock the person because I have in my hand 5 pages that they wrote, so they have written, so it's really impressive
Mhm.
for someone to write that much and stuff like that. But I don't know. It's either very amateur, and I'm not going to knock them for that because you got to start somewhere, or it's like I said, I feel like it's a high schooler, like this
Yeah.
the stuff that they talk about.
Well, again, like with our show, like we even the stuff that we don't like we still want people to like know like how to improve and stuff, right? So like it doesn't come from a bad place, like our criticism and stuff. It comes from kind of a place of like where like we're doing this because we enjoy it and also we want to see things be better.
Yeah.
So
Well, allow me to introduce the next sentence.
oh no.
Here's where I'll start my story. Well, no shit. All right.
Yeah.
So pretty much, why don't you take over here,
Okay.
Crazon, off air?
Well, I'm going to paraphrase a little bit. I'm not going to read the entire story,
Okay.
but yeah. So Sunflower is what I'm going to name the narrator in
Okay.
this one. So Sunflower, Jess, Nika, or so yeah, Sunflower's doing this like telling this account that they heard from their friends who went on a journey to Natural Bridge State Park
Hmm.
in the summer. So they went down there and uh, they were night hiking,
Yeah.
and they encountered sudden cloudy skies when there was like clear as wow,
Yeah. It's a
can't
clear
find a euphemism.
open.
Yeah, clear open like sky, like starry sky, like because they
Mhm.
were going up there to look at the Milky Way and such. And then suddenly it was super cloudy, and then there was this strange, tall, lanky woman.
Yeah.
No. This woman in a sundress and flip flops, and I can't remember what else she had on her.
She had a headlamp
A headlamp, yeah,
and a sundress. I think you said that though.
yeah. And she was very robotic in her approach to the kid or these 20-year-olds. and she just basically like she had nothing else on her. Like she didn't have any water or any kind of provisions because this hike does require some kind of some manner of break and hydration to get up there because it's like cliffs and rocky terrain.
Yeah.
And so they thought like the group thought that was very odd, and she just like walked like past them into the darkness and like turned sharply at a bend and like was gone. And at this point, I don't even think they made it up there. I think they decided to just go back, didn't they?
Okay, so
sorry, I am looking at the story as I do this.
No,
so.
no, it's fine. She continued to walk past them. At this point, everyone is creeped out. They keep climbing up to the top.
Okay, so they did. Okay, they did creep. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
They still go up to the top, and it's all cloudy. So like that's a bummer. And they decide to just go back down. Oh no, they hear noises, right? They hear whistling.
Yeah, they hear like they start hearing the sounds, and I'm trying to see which section it is. I think they described it as like a two-part like bird whistle, or like you would do for a dog, which I guess is that kind of thing.
Yeah, I was getting whippoorwill, honestly.
Okay.
The like kind of like what you just did, and then like you double it up again.
Yeah.
And so they start hearing that, and it's just wildlife. Oh my god! I swear to God, I read this story yesterday.
Okay, so okay, so we have let's backtrack just a second.
Okay, sorry.
So let's look at the encounter a little bit. So they make it. All right, get my pages ready. Now they take off. They give us like this really like idea that they want to go up to Natural Bridge, climb to the top of it so they can view the Milky Way. I thought that was entertaining that they mentioned that. And then they mention it's a clear night, and they make a point, and like they really telegraph their moves in the story for better or worse. They notice that amidst their trek up the hill or up the mountain, it's getting kind of cloudy, and they even tell to you, and I quote, "A key part of the story is a noise they kept hearing. It sounds like a human doing a bird call, almost like a two-part whistle, like someone would use to call their dog. But it would like alternate between different sides of the trail that they were walking on. So, left, right, as they were going up there. It unsettles them. Now, my favorite part of this entire story is the description of the girl.
Yeah.
They saw her coming down. She was, sundress, flip-flops, headlamp, like you do, no backpack or any other kind of provisions. The narrator says, "Now let me be clear. There is no way this girl did this hike by herself in the middle of the night with no source of hydration, wearing a dress and flip-flops. She may have been up there before it got dark and went down. I mean, there's some kind of assumptions that are being made. And also, I've been there. Now, there are gigantic trails up there that can go for like, 7, 10, 12 miles and stuff like that. But there's also like direct paths that one can take up there. And my favorite detail of when they're talking about this woman is that when she came toward them and stopped, they all turned and looked at her. So all the lights that they had are shining on her, and she's not even blinking.
Right, yeah, she's not shielding her eyes or anything like that.
Then our narrator says it gets pitch black up there at night. Yep.
Yeah, I mean
that's kind of
the wilderness without any kind of like headlights or like the light pollution of urbanization. That'll do it.
And when the person that they're describing in the story starts making the trying to talk to this woman, it seems kind of creepy to me. So it's Jess. Jess said that she attempted to greet her and ask her how she was, to try to make light of an awkward, creepy situation. She was also concerned that the girl might be lost in the woods. So I'm imagining this as being, well, you're out in the middle of nowhere. It'd be awful if something bad happened to you. Kind of.
Oh yeah, basically being an awkward 20-year-old.
Yeah, and then the first bit of dialogue that you have actually, quotation marks, is a girl going, "Oh, I'm fine," in a robotic, like
strange,
strange,
almost forced mannerism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that I think they mentioned that she gets kind of like everybody gets creeped out, and then as they kept making their climb up the mountain, they notice it's a unique term. I'm sure there's a better one, but as they keep going, they start glancing to the sides of the trail, feeling uneasy, feeling like they're being watched, and they're catching the glint of light reflecting on creatures' eyes,
Yeah.
which was a nice detail.
Yeah, I can kind of relate to that.
Yeah,
I think I've told you the coyote story
yeah.
once or twice. So
So yeah, that pretty much has got us up to it. So whew, when I think of people I'd like to describe a bipedal creature to me, I usually think of you. So how about you
oh,
take us into
thanks.
that next section?
Thank you. So yeah, they're yeah. So just so hang on. Yeah, so all the things that they've seen so far, like the animal glints and the or the eye glints and the sounds, they can all kind of chalk up to wildlife, so no big deal. And then they see this thing, and everybody's like, "What the fuck?" And they shine their lights on it, and they describe this huge, lanky, bipedal creature that stands 9 feet tall, and it has like pale, glossy skin
They compared it to being
to a dolphin.
similar to a dolphin, which
Yeah.
in my notes I wrote, well, that's your typical Eastern Kentucky tree dolphin.
Oh, no, it's the land ninja. I don't know if you've ever heard of the ninjas. They're
Oh yeah, I have.
yeah, the things that live in the Antarctic that people claim they've seen, and like there's photos of like the humanoid whale thing.
Yeah,
It's just like that. Yeah, it's just the land one. It's when that subspecies got cut off from the inland sea when it dried up.
yeah, of course.
Yeah. God, there's our game scenario right there. Damn it.
Yeah, we've already. Well, let's get in the kitchen here real quick. No.
Okay, yeah. No. We'll save it for the kitchen segment.
Okay.
So yeah, they can't distinguish. It doesn't seem to have any distinguishable facial features, or they can't make it out very well outside of like pit-like eyes.
Yeah.
And then they're all like kind of frozen there, like freaking out and kind of like, what the hell is this thing gonna do? And eventually, one of their friends, Nico, gets them all to like run down the hill or run down the trail back to their parking lot, or back to the parking lot where their car is. And when they get there, they've realized they've experienced some what is it? The lost time
Yeah.
anomaly, and that the clouds and like all the cloudy skies and stuff are all gone. It's back to being clear again.
Yeah.
Um,
I did like the part with Nico. It was like Nico finally got them to run down. Like it was a debate. Come on, guys.
oh yeah, no, was he like tugging at them as they're all like just like gripped in fear?
Yeah.
Like that, almost like the Scooby Doo kind of thing, where it's like they're like he's like running like spinning tires, like running behind them as he's like holding onto their like the back of their shirts.
Yeah. And you got that lost time thing. It's like, quote, somebody had taken twice as long as it normally did. By the way, they always capitalize it in the story. So I keep,
Yeah.
hello, Georgie, kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Despite the fact that they had headed back down sooner than usual and also ran most of the way down, it was like they had lost chunks of time. Yep. That's what you're describing.
Yeah. Yeah. You did it. Yeah. Repetition sometimes is.
Yeah. Well,
Not
that's
needed.
that's kind of the what I look at in high school writing. It's like you give someone you got to write a 1,200 word paper, and then it's like painstaking detail on the most minute things, just so you could just fat that thing out to 1,200 words.
Ah, yes, the Lovecraft method.
Yeah.
Just add the most like long, like descriptive words to add that to that word count, or to add to that letter count.
Yeah. Now you get something here following up that may actually be a new paragraph or part of the same. I couldn't tell. It like so after they talk about the lost time,
Mhm.
our narrator goes fast forward to this past Friday night, and then April 6, 2018. And now we get another bit, and I do want to kind of read this part because it is Kentucky Board of Tourism.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So, I texted Jess, who just, went to this harrowing place, see if she wanted to hang out.
To be fair, she hadn't been to this harrowing place for like a couple of months. They had time to recover.
Let time heal those wounds.
Exactly.
Just wanted to see if everybody wanted to hang out after work that evening. She says she did, and that she wanted to drive to the gorge to try to do a night hike and get some pizza at Miguel's. Miguel's Pizza, one of the only restaurants that seems to exist in Slade. There's a Mexican place, come on. But they had the most amazing pizza breakfast.
They did have. I did see a McDonald's on Google Maps.
There actually is a McDonald's.
Yeah. Actually, what's funny is I don't like. I'm looking at Google Maps right now, and I do not see this Miguel's.
Oh, it's locally owned, and but it's real. I've been there myself. It is Miguel's Pizza is a staple for that area, and they even have like their own little gift shop, and they sell shirts.
Oh my god!
And stuff like that. So it's got that's the local place. It's nothing out of the ordinary for people that live as far away as I do. Just to do something different, drive out to Red River Gorge and eat Miguel's Pizza.
Gotcha.
It's pretty good. So we do all this. So if they're getting off in the evening and it takes 2 hours to get there, our narrator goes into painstaking details to tell you that Jess and Nicole picked her up at 5:15 at Kara's house, and then they took her car because it was really big, and they stopped to get cigarettes, waters, plural, snacks, and were on their way to the gorge. And then she tells us that she absolutely adores road trips with her friends. They like to talk, sing, and chain smoke, which I hope is all happening at the same time.
Oh my god.
It's like this discordant scene is described as being one of the most blissful feelings in the world. Everyone is happy to be in each other's company on a nice night, ready to go out in the nature. Now,
I hate to say it, but I'm speaking to feel that this is like a high schooler's experience.
Oh fuck yeah! And then we'll get to that's my big key point. Like, well, look at me, I'm smoking cigarettes. Guess what? You got to be 21 over here to buy them now. Which they just.
I also noticed that they were smoking more than cigarettes later on in the story.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When they leave Miguel's, they have to go there and talk about their time there. And then when they say they leave, they just briefly mention that they're stoned.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think this is important for me to step aside here, and I want to tell you my Red River Gorge story.
Please do.
Now, it's not as great. In high school, they took my class up there to nature, science, something. I can't remember what class took us. And I remember we were walking around doing trails with our teacher, and we ran into somebody, and we said, I spoke to them, and one of my buddies named Kenny goes, "Well, you have a good day, man." And we leave, and we go home. And the next day, they have a picture of that guy on the news where he fell to his fucking death at Red River Gorge. And, being good friends that we were, we honestly figured out that Kenny was the angel of death. But, it's a dangerous place.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you're walking up there at night with a flashlight, like the real horror of the story. Yeah. That's the horror. It's just that these idiots are just blissfully traipsing through the woods like on drugs. Like, there's animal, dude. There's rattlesnakes. There's coyotes.
Yeah, what's the wildlife? So there's coyotes, rattlesnakes,
copperheads. So we got our snake part covered. Coyotes, which they aren't going to fuck with you unless there's a lot of them. And then they're going to fuck with you.
Oh, trust me, I know. It looks off into the middle distance to that fateful night.
And bears. So we have had bears. Now, I do also want to mention something else, and this is one of our, for creepypastas of future time, if we could even find it. There is now these people are also from the city. This is something else that kind of.
Yeah, they're from Louisville.
Yeah.
From what I've gathered, Louisville's pretty metropolitan. So.
Oh, it's the largest city in the state of Kentucky, and it's a stone's throw away from Indiana. I mean, it's nothing to take a wrong turn. It's like, well, we're
You
going to
know,
Indiana.
yep.
But like they're like, so you got this tourist thing. Now I live in Eastern Kentucky and all that, and like, I'm kind of used to seeing the people coming down here to experience nature and all that, and I try not to be too, oh, look at the tourist kind of stuff like that.
We don't
But
take kindly to tourists. Sorry.
there's been a lot. The Chamber of Commerce has been talking to us about our banjo playing, and like it's infringing on some rights, but we'll keep going. But like so, fuck, where was I going with this? I done lost me.
So the like how dangerous the
Yeah.
like night yeah, because I was gonna ask, it's like, aren't like, I know, like I live, I'm surrounded by national parks in my area. Like we have at least 3 or 4 that are like a half-hour drive from my current location, and I'm pretty sure that you need to like sign in, and or at least like get a day voucher, or, and I'm pretty sure they're closed at night.
Yeah, there's this
Are
thing
there
called
night?
liability that exists.
Yeah, like, is night hiking a thing? I
Not
didn't think that was a thing, unless you're like actually going out there and camping. But
if you're like, I mean, people go coon hunting, but they're not going to go coon hunting up there, which is kind of a barbaric practice where you just send dogs out with you,
yeah,
and you tree a raccoon up in the tree, and then you shoot him in the face. But like, it's not a big deal. Like nobody does that I know of. But I mean, which also shows me just how divorced these people are from common sense and stuff like that, which also makes you believe it may be a child. But
yeah.
there's also, and then I mean, dude, this is something I saw on the internet maybe a month ago. Like, there's also mountain lions are showing back up into this region.
Oh yeah. I was actually going to ask, because like I know we have mountain lions up here sometimes. So
Yeah. So,
I was curious to see if you guys actually had them still.
they're
Yeah, like
slowly
so
coming
like
back.
yeah, like so like nature's like still dangerous and scary. Like
Yeah.
I've
Yeah,
said it on the show before. The woods be scary.
yeah,
Like,
it's they're not like with kid gloves or anything like that, you know.
mhm.
So, we
So
mentioned beforehand. Go ahead.
yeah, so I'm trying to see like where we are in the story here. So yeah,
Well,
they go to Miguel's, and we have the tourist or the sponsored
yeah.
the Kentucky sponsored advertisement for Miguel's,
Hmm.
the best pizza in the world.
Yeah, we're
Which
high
one day,
magically.
yeah, um,
Everybody felt serene.
yeah, it was so serene. Um, and they get there at like around or they finish eating at 9 and pile into the car, stoned still.
Hmm.
um, and they all on their way there, like to the site, like the parking site, they start getting a feeling of being scared, which they're excited for, but also like uneasy about.
Yeah, they encounter some like road work, detour kind of stuff like that too. That it's almost like the author is trying to point out at this point in time, like not only are we foreshadowing, but they're really wanting to hammer in the point that like we're being drawn to this place.
Yeah, that's what I kind of got the sense of, like, because there's multiple occasions in the story where like they shouldn't. Oh yeah, here actually it's coming up right here. So there's this is a quote I'm going to reference here. So I am feeling more and more nervous by the second. Something feels wrong. I'm not scared at this point, but I do not feel like I should go in the woods. I have to say something. So I kind of don't want to do this. This is the same trail that you guys saw that thing on, and I feel really weird right now. And my comment to that is, frankly, I'm surprised any of you want to go back to this trail after that last encounter.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, we just
like,
ran into John Wayne Gacy. It's okay.
yeah, no, you encountered like Slenderman's third cousin, twice removed. Like that's fine. Like it feels like that was like what, in the summer. So like let's be generous and say like July. And this is April now. So
Yeah.
like about 6-7 months have passed. that's still not enough time for me to want to go in the woods after encountering something like that.
Yeah.
Like if hell, it took like we literally. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to the coyote, my coyote experience.
Okay.
So a bunch of my buddies and I, we used to do like walks at night. Like we'd spend a couple of hours like walking around our local town and just shooting the shit and like talking D&D and stuff like that at night along the like the old. We have an old like train tracks that go through that from like the Trans Canada train like rail system that basically got decommissioned and now it's a walking trail. So we just take those and whatnot, and we've been doing that for months in the summer, and we're kind of getting bored. So I opted that we should go to the woods near my place out in the sticks because there's tons of hiking trails out there. So we do go and do that, and we actually like walked around our suburb first for a couple of nights, and then the one night we decided to actually go into the woods, and we trekked about about 2 hours into the woods, up and down like dense forested hills and ravines, making snide remarks about Slenderman and stuff like that. And we get to a landmark, and then we decide to go back. On the way back, I hear like like sticks snapping and some like motion beside us. I look over and there are just eyes, like 24 sets of eyes glimmering in the light. They're glimmering in the light because the street lights are not 50 meters away, to the where the exit is to the woods. And
Yeah.
so I nudged my buddy, and he's like, "Hey, there's things watching us in the woods." And he's like, "All right, don't panic. We'll just keep going. We're all in a group. Let's just keep going." And so we get out, and then when we hit the intersection, my buddy stops us all like once we're like a ways off from the forest trail and the forest itself, and he's like, "Okay, so yeah, we were being followed by a pack of coyotes, so it's a good thing we didn't split up." Because
yeah.
it sounded like they were probably waiting to pick one of us off.
Oh God, yeah. Oh,
Yeah, so that was we decided maybe that wasn't maybe that wasn't such a smart idea to go night walking in the woods, even near my house, even near a suburb that's in the middle of the woods. It also didn't help that like a couple weeks later, somebody found half a body in those woods.
ooh.
That is completely unrelated. That is actually apparently mobsters from or like gangsters from. I say gangsters, like basically mobsters from like Toronto were basically getting rid of their trash in northern parts of Ontario.
Oh,
So yeah, that it didn't happen in our neighborhood. They just dumped it in our neighborhood.
that's nice of them.
Yeah, so we decided maybe we should stop going in the woods at night.
Good decision.
Yeah. So yeah, I can definitely relate to like this being a bad idea. Just night hiking. Like it's great. It's fun and like spontaneous and like silly if you don't think about it, and it's great for horror movies and horror stories. But in reality, it's just a bad idea.
Oh God, yeah. Just and if imagine all the what if scenarios that could go on. Like, what if the batteries go dead? What if somebody gets hurt? Like,
Yeah.
when you're
What if you
out there,
guys get lost?
yeah. Like we tend to think that the world is this well connected place, but I mean, I hunt and I do a lot of trail riding and hiking and stuff like that. And there's places that I've been out there that you got to make good decisions. Like I like riding around ATVs and stuff like that and doing old trails like that. And some of them are very sheer and steep. And, you know, it's all fun and games. It's adrenaline rush. But if I flip that thing and it comes over, like, it's going to be a long time before anyone finds me. And I'm probably
Yeah.
going to be dead.
Yeah. Like search and rescue wood. I mean, I guess there's a reason why like search and rescue woods are like those like again all those like reports that you like get on like not even just like Reddit no sleep or like other like actual like mystery documentaries get set up for like national parks and stuff because that is such a common thing.
And then people just walk out there just so ill prepared.
Mhm.
Like, and I'll say this will be the last thing I tell you. on this. I was down in Tennessee. I went down there. I think it's just me before I had kids. Me and my wife went down there, and we just do. It's the Smoky Mountains. It's a big tourist place called Gatlinburg down there, and we would go down there and see the sights, hike and stuff like that. Just get out, get away from home. Well, we were on a trail, and there's a bunch of people who were not, you know, from the nature kind of areas were there, and they found a baby bear, a
Oh
cub,
God.
and they're sitting there trying to coax the cub to them. And I
That's such a
stopped
bad
this group of
idea.
people. I go, "You dumbasses know that there's probably a mama bear somewhere around here, right?"
Yeah.
And just like it just amazed me watching grown ass people. I mean, I'm talking about a kid writing a story, but watching grown ass people. Oh, look at the cute bear, and then they're gonna get mauled by a goddamn black bear.
Yep. And yeah, that is the dumbest. Like, even if I've seen bears before in the like walking like in like rural areas, and just like I'm just going to give that a wide berth.
Yeah.
The widest of berths. Yeah. No, it's just yeah. This definitely spiraled very quickly into like city slicker dumbass kids or
Yeah.
like dumbass like those guys in horror movies at the very least.
Yeah, we were definitely hitting that trope of the person definitely out of their element here.
Yeah.
So, that was our side. We
Yeah.
hope you enjoyed that.
This is like I've said before on these kind of episodes. Don't expect a like, oh, like here's the rundown. Now here's our thing, and then this is it. No, we're gonna just go all over the place like while we're doing the rundown. It's fine. So yeah, they getting the weird feeling to the point where when they go to like get out of the car and stuff, they basically decide that they want to try a different trail except for Nico. And so who pulls out? Yeah, Jess pulls out a small piece of wood that is a portable Ouija board and a pendulum.
Yeah.
to basically divine which trail they should go on, or should they take this trail, or should they try a different one?
Oh shit! Man, that was another one of these moments. I'm like, goddamn high school kids.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie that I've had that experience. I was not I wasn't one of those kids, but I knew people that were those kind of kids that just like had like on their person Ouija board, spirit boards, or like new age magic-y stuff.
before they had their hopes and dreams crushed by reality.
Yeah.
So the pendulum, which going with this whole notion that they're being pushed in this direction, I think they were asking, "Do you guys want to go top Chimney Rock instead?" Which I just sent you a picture
Yeah.
in
Oh,
the
sorry, I
chat.
didn't get. Yeah, hang on a second. Actually, it's like they're asking if they should take this trail because it says
Okay.
it does quiver to no, so they decide to go to the Chimney Trail or Chimney Top Rock.
Yeah.
Chimney
She
Top
hangs her
Rock.
pendulum, etc., etc.
An
Okay,
easy
so
walk to an amazing view. Thank you, summary. Or Chimney.
the actual Kentucky Board of Tourism. Now,
It's rated as an easy walk.
oh, they got their intermediate kind of like beginner trail stuff there.
Yeah.
So, well, we're superstitious people. Well, no shit. So when the pendulum quivers toward no, we decided to drive to Chimney Top instead. Nico seems disappointed, but is willing to compromise and do a different trail. I wrote in the notes here what just happened.
Honestly, frankly, I'm surprised Nico didn't decide to just separate and go down the trail himself.
Yeah, really.
Like it's this kind of story that I was just expecting that to happen.
So as they're going toward this destination, they start talking about the creature they saw. Nothing serious.
Yeah,
Just trying to
no.
make some light conversation.
Hey, remember that time we encountered an alien in the woods? Like, remember when we met an Independence Day alien or something like in the woods? That was cool.
Yeah, that was really nice.
Happens all the time. Bumped into ET once in a cornfield. Like, what the fuck?
As we do this, I hear a whistling noise. I didn't connect the dots at this point. Remember, I wasn't on the original trip with the noise. But I did know that I was all of a sudden terrified. We all looked around to see if anyone else had heard what we did. Are they in the fucking car still?
Yeah, they're in the car. They've been driving this. They've been
Yeah.
driving. I assume, and this is my foreigner non-Kentucky like mentality. I assume there's roads that go to different like trailheads.
I assume I
Or
have
is-
not looked for it.
Yeah, you've not decided. We should hang on. Let's do a quick aside. Where's this natural bridge?
Yeah.
Kentucky. Where's that? I'm gonna just take a look and see where the trailhead is. Ah, Miguel's rock climbing. Miguel's Pizza. There we go. Found Miguel's Pizza.
Norman Reedus just went there this past fall.
Oh man, nice.
Yeah, he was. It
Devil's
was like the Food Channel did some like tour of like a little hole in the wall places.
Yeah. All right, and also I am noticing a Lover's Leap, Hemlock Lodge, Devil's Gulch. Man, I think I might have to come out to Indiana or not Indiana, Kentucky sometime and like check this out.
Yeah, check it out, and then we can go spend some time at the Buddhist temple that's nearby.
Yeah. Oh, we haven't even touched on that yet. So Natural Bridge. Okay, here we go. Natural Bridge trailhead parking. So I found it on Natural Bridge Road. All right, now directions. Where is what was it called? Chimney
Top Rock.
Chimney Top Rock.
Sounds like it ought to be like a song like Rocky Top, Tennessee. What'd you find?
What? Chimney Top Rock is nowhere. Okay, I may have looked in the wrong spot because like it's pointing to a spot that's like nowhere near that that spot. I'm thinking okay, Chimney Top Road. That's what I was looking at. Okay. Trailhead. There we go. Found it. All right. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Okay. It's about a 30-minute drive from the Natural Bridge trailhead, going back into Slade, going down Bert T. Combs Mountain Parkway, then going north from Pine Ridge up to the Chimney Top Rock trailhead.
Is that even in Powell County anymore?
Oh yeah, it's still in the Red River Gorge. It's literally you do an N. You were literally doing an N in the road, like in terms of like roads, and it takes about 30 to 32 minutes of driving to get there.
Well, honestly, we've go ahead.
Like there's no like I'm just looking at this like what like they have to go back into Slade, then go out of Slade to the west to the east, southeast. Hit Pine Ridge, turn off Pine Ridge, go north, and then you're at Chimney Top Rock trailhead. That is not nearby at all.
Well,
there's no direct route. You have to basically go like a zigzag around. At least
it's
like
all relative now. I mean, it's nearby as compared to you up in Canada. It's a little bit closer.
It's about 8 kilometers, 8 to 9 kilometers, like just like beelining there, I guess. yeah, that's ridiculous. Okay, sorry. Some of the illusions of this is kind of falling apart on me right now.
I mean, also you got to remember they're all high.
That's true. Yeah. See, I'm used to like because we do have a ton of like roads that go through like national parks. So I was kind of expecting like, all right, we can't get to this trailhead. Let's continue down the road, down the national park highway or road or whatever, and get to the next like entrance basically. But no, it looks like you have to like go like completely away from where they had originally gone. Like they're in a completely different part of the forest.
Yeah.
Yeah. When the whistling starts happening.
Now, did you notice our secret of our new introduced character in the next
yes,
paragraph?
I did. Hang on. I'm gonna read. Yeah. So they're driving the car, and Kara says, wide-eyed, "That's the fake bird call we heard that night from the summer and stuff like that." And then we get to we were all dead silent, staring straight ahead of us for a few seconds, while Caden, continued driving through the dark, windy forest road.
Who the fuck's Caden?
Right? Also, fun fact: Caden, which is not spelled the same, but it's Kaiden, is a Japanese term for ghost stories.
Oh.
So yeah, that's that. We'll touch on that later.
Mm-hmm.
And then my next one is actually like the next paragraph right after this. And then, readers of No Sleep, I shit you motherfucking not. We heard it again. It was so fucking loud. It was crystal clear and penetrating.
Yeah, the penetrating really kind of choked me up. I was like, there's better verbs out there.
Yeah. It was literally so loud that it sounded like it was coming from inside the car. The whistling is coming from inside the car.
Get out! It's Caden. We found it.
And yet distant, like it was coming from the woods to our right. I have no explanation for how this whistle managed to defy logic, but I can tell you that we all had a meltdown. There were tears in our eyes. I started sinking lower and lower, trying to get as close to the floor of the back seat as possible. I hate to say it at this point. This feels like the whole gang is just having a bad trip.
Yeah.
I mean that in that like smoking marijuana sort of bad trip. Like they were stoned earlier at the pizza joint. I think they're just coming off on a bad. They're having a bad end to their high. Like that literally is the description of like what happens when you have a bad hit.
Yeah, if only our author was that clever with this. If only. You know what? Are you familiar with the song "The Hellbound Train"?
Maybe.
I don't. You can hear them singing in Red Dead Redemption 2, but it starts out like a drunkard lay on the barroom floor. He drunk till he could not drink no more. He fell asleep with a troubled brain and dreamt he was on the hellbound train. And then it goes through this whole like Willy Wonka-ish like Grizzly Reaper mowing kind of thing.
Yeah.
I think they're on the hellbound train, so to speak. Like
they're in the hellbound car with Caden.
Yeah, it's a big car. Whose car did we take again there, man?
I think it was Cars, right?
Maybe, but who the fuck's Kane there, man? Let's keep going.
To be fair, when Kane was introduced, I was like, so are we going Skinwalker? Like not actual Skinwalker legend stuff, but like internet Skinwalker stuff where like suddenly there's another person in the group that is just like being narrated as if like they've always been with the group until you reveal that there's only supposed to be 4 of us. Why is there a 5th person? Skinwalker! Literally like half a dozen Skinwalker stories I've read. Yeah.
Oh, please read the next sentence.
Okay.
Where it goes into this
like I cannot put in yeah, some Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Yeah, we're in backcountry and you cannot put in the words.
we gotta get out of here. We're in Slade country. I cannot put into words the feeling of absolute dread and hopelessness that whistling instilled in me.
Tequila.
Yeah. Or just like again, like from the Dunwich Horror, is like.
Yeah.
See, I was also trying to like in my head because I'm trying to like bring this into like some 8 feet tall like connection. And I was just thinking, it's like, well, an owl's whistling does kind of sound like Poe. It's like,
yeah.
Ooh. But yeah, so I'd like to say fight or flight kicked in, but it was worse because as soon as I heard the third whistle, I fucking knew that I had no chance if whatever made that noise wanted me.
I knew it was smart.
Holy shit.
I knew it wanted us to hear that whistle. Well, oh shit, it's whistling.
It was so intentional. God, I get lost into this part. So after all that madness,
yeah.
After that, we drove around in the woods a little bit longer. Why? I have no idea. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I was like, that was me commenting, and then it just answered it for me.
Well, you were nicer. Mine said bullshit plot device.
Yeah, exactly. So they were basically roaming around, like almost drawn to keep going for some reason.
Yeah, like
The
siren's call.
Yeah, or like the gray aliens are psionically like pulling them back in, because like that's kind of one of the my angles for this, is that it's some kind of like gray.
Yeah.
And yeah, so then that's basically the end of the story. They make it back to Louisville after that bad trip.
Can I say this?
Yeah.
Even now, sitting safely in my Louisville bed. Is that a brand?
The Louisville bed.
The Louisville bed. It's like a 4-post bed, but I don't know.
It's like I don't know if you guys have it down there, but we have a specific bed company up here called Sleep Country Canada. Why buy a mattress anywhere else? It's like, welcome to Louisville Beds. Why buy a mattress in any other town?
Maybe the posts on the bed are actually baseball bats. Like you're getting, it's like
Yeah.
B-stock Louisville Sluggers. I don't know.
Yeah.
Now this is where our hypotheses come in. So I'm gonna take the first one. You
Okay,
take
cool.
the second one.
All right.
Now this rocket scientist has some theories.
Mm-hmm.
First off, maybe we entered some sort of alternate reality last summer. That would explain the strange quick onset and disappearance of clouds. All right, what's the other thing?
I don't know what that girl was, but I don't think she was human. I really have no idea what the creature is. Sasquatch was my first thought. All right, okay. Lack of hair. Yeah.
Got mange. Come on.
Oh my god, that would be. Oh my god. Damn it, Adam, you're making this good. I want there to be a friggin' Delta Green game where you find Sasquatch, but it's one with the reason why you find it is because it's one with mange.
Its camouflage is gone.
Yeah, or it's like it's no longer. It's got basically like rabies kind of thing, where like it's no longer like trying to avoid humanity.
Isn't that the plot for The Man Who Killed Hitler and Then Bigfoot? That's a movie.
What? That's a movie?
All right. Do you have like you're aware of Hulu? Do you have Hulu?
Yeah, I don't have Hulu, but I'm aware of it.
It should be on that. It was this summer, but there's a movie that has Sam Elliott, which is,
Oh my god! Yeah, like the cowboy.
Yeah,
like
the cowboy,
the penultimate cowboy.
The meme of, well, that's a special kind of stupid that all your right wing like asshole family members and friends share.
Yeah.
He is like a man who killed Hitler, and then somehow I think Bigfoot spreading a disease that could, like, I never watched it, but that's what I kind of get the gist of, is like, I think Bigfoot spreading a disease. So they send this old World War II vet out into the woods to track down and kill Bigfoot and save humanity.
It's like a fucking pulp movie or pulp novel.
Look it up, man. It's kind of like these stories, folks. Like, we could go out and read something by Stephen King. But
you choose to read Reddit No Sleep. Nothing against Reddit No Sleep. I want to rephrase. There is nothing wrong with these stories, but sometimes it's like I mean, but the thing with the internet stories is that you are flinging wads at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Yeah,
it is a bit of a crapshoot.
I have not written a 5-page paper about Sasquatch out in the woods, so this person's got that on me. But I don't know.
Did you do that in high school?
No. Well, I did have to write portfolios, but I think I wrote about. Oh, come on, I grew up in the '80s. I was still writing about the Satanic Panic.
Ah, gotcha. So yeah, his friend he discounts they discount Sasquatch because it was hairless, the creature that his friends described. So it doesn't fit. So if anyone can help, please let me know. We need information, and I know this isn't over. Thank you so much. And unfortunately, that help will never come because the story has been taken down from Reddit No Sleep.
That was actually the help. It was,
yeah.
This has been euthanized.
Ow.
It's like that scene in Saving Private Ryan where the guy's being slowly stabbed by the German soldier, and the guy's going shh the whole time, which is
Yeah.
really one of the more chilling scenes in that movie, in my opinion.
Is that where that comes from? Like it's like shh, sleep.
Yeah,
like
yeah, he's like,
that's where that meme comes from. God damn it.
yeah, it's like the guy was a Jew, and then which probably was just a coincidence, and then the German soldiers just kind of shushing him to sleep.
Oh my god. It's been maybe 15 years since I saw Saving Private Ryan. It was in I think it was in high school, honestly. But anyway,
So we made it to the end.
holy
Now,
crap. That was the longest rundown. No, that was not the longest rundown. Our 300th episode was the longest rundown.
well, we're gonna probably have to omit the grammar correction section. Like, let's go over let's gloss some high low points for us real
Yes.
here. What did you notice?
So, like grammar wise,
Yeah.
I did notice that earlier, like the and dozen natural sandstone arches. So it's like it has dense forest and a dozen.
Yeah.
Or maybe even just like a comma and a dozen. I don't know. That's about honestly. Again, I really wasn't I really wasn't like reading it that much for like the grammar Inquisition. I know I was falling away from the Inquisition.
Don't
On
worry.
this
I
one.
mean, honestly, you would have probably had to break out. It took some Patreon money to buy red ink pens if you kept going through it.
Yeah.
A lot of incomplete sentences, and I'm not going to. I'll give you an example, and then I'll stop. And the first page is like, until they had already started their hike.
Oh yeah.
Uh, you know, but like if I were going to go structurally, and this is something that I fought with children when they write papers, showing is better than telling. And there's a
Mhm.
lot of telling in the story that could have been omitted altogether, and just a lot of details. Like I think you could have probably took the story and condensed it down to at least 2 pages. I mean, at the most 2 pages. I think that's as much actual content.
Yeah, I do feel like you could have actually omitted. I don't know if this is grammar, but this is like story structure wise. I feel like from a story point of view, you could have omitted the friends travel like journey into into the national park until later in the story.
Oh yeah, that would
Like
work out so much better.
mention they had gone out in the summer and then they'd come back like kind of, but they didn't want to talk about that incident. Like,
Yeah.
and like just leave it as like kind of like being like them being the narrator or Sunflower being very like curious about it, and then like maybe they're the ones that suggest going out to the woods, and like the others are kind of a little nervous about it, and then on the car ride you have 2 hours. You have a 2 hour drive out there.
Mm-hmm.
Like at some point like in this journey, then you reveal that fateful day, that fateful night in the summer. Like have the other characters like describe that. Also, like you were saying, like a lot of it was just told to us, not shown. Like the monster is just told, like told to us, like that it encounters their friend, and then we just hear the whistling and stuff like that. We don't actually get a direct encounter by the end.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think what might have been was that they were hoping to do a sequel when they got some input from people on in the comments, because a lot of Reddit No Sleep stuff does that, where they get more like kind of ideas and inspiration from like the commentary and reaction, because again, like you're supposed to treat these like you're in game essentially, like you're in the story's like world setting. So
Yeah. Like the national park ones that we looked at about I can't remember which episode it was. I jumped on for that one with Travis. But
yeah, the Algonquin Park one, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So honestly, that was the thing. I think I hadn't even considered that aspect, that if this had been something that the narrator has introduced to them, like early on, and then that would kind of, I don't know, I think it would even work with the hubris of like these guys are bullshit and you bully them into it. And then, it's any good horror story or horror movie, if you do some kind of infraction or some kind of sin or something like that, then, you're kind of damning everyone, so to speak.
Yeah. Like the Voorhees thing, like you smoke, do drugs, they basically broke all but having sex in the woods for Jason Voorhees to come out and kill them. But
that's how you get a wraith now, guys.
yeah, that's how you summon the Revenant.
Oh god, I said the wrong word there. So
that's fine. I just referenced the Revenant from Zombies of the World by Ross Payton. Buy his book. Because it's basically just a drawing of Jason Voorhees.
Hey, it's still a book, though.
Yeah. No, I have that book. It's a good one.
Now, I think I don't have anything else to say about the grammar and structure of it. It's just, again, to recap, I just feel like it was just a very young person who wrote this, and kudos for you. I don't have any idea what the comments were. I hope that this person received some positive, constructive feedback, and in their future endeavors, they're able to take this learned experience and refine their craft. It's
I feel it is a shame. Like, I mean, as much as we've been kind of like poking fun at the story, I do always feel like it's kind of a shame that like something like this gets taken down, because it's definitely not the worst story I have ever read. It is far from the worst creepypasta I have ever read, sir.
1,000-yard stare.
Yep. But yeah, like I hope that the person who wrote this, or SunflowerSenpai, did go on to like improve themselves.
Yeah.
Or improve their writing from like any kind of constructive criticism, and I hope it wasn't too harsh from the comments, because sometimes those comments can be pretty bad.
Yeah, there's a lot of assholes out there.
Yep.
So let's make this a game.
Yeah. So into the kitchen mode. Well, let's just walk over to the kitchen here.
All right.
So yeah, this is the segment where, if you're not familiar yet, is where we decipher, or we basically take the ingredients from this story and try to make some game fodder or story fodder from, usually just game fodder, because that's kind of what our hobby is when we're not reading creepy stories.
Mm-hmm.
So Adam, we have talked a little bit about this off and on since our New Year's episode, which is the actual play game I ran, where you guys, I tormented you for about an hour and a half in an apartment, or maybe 2 hours in an apartment room, as you were being stalked and hunted by a creepy Japanese Slender-like. Mm-hmm. And we were talking about how we should like try and like maybe like use this material in this story as like a sequel for that, especially since you discovered that there's a Buddhist temple in the area.
Which, for those of you who don't know, it's a very fundamental region. We would vote against our own self-interest if you put you tagged an issue with, like, say, pro-life versus pro-choice kind of thing. Not a very open area for, so yeah, there's a Buddhist temple in Slade, Kentucky, which I had to actually look up myself. I heard rumors about that. So yeah, there's a nice little connection that we could possibly make. And how would one make said connections between what happened in Slade, Kentucky, and
versus what happened in in our game, or the Haki Shakusama?
Yeah.
So I'm just curious when this was founded. This Zen, the Furnace Mountain Zen Center, which
I think it's at least 20 years.
20 years. Okay.
I can remember the mid-aughts at least. I can remember hearing about it there.
So perhaps Haki Shakusama is not the only one, and perhaps there was an incident later in or earlier in history, like maybe in like the 70s, when that like where somebody like basically somebody from Japan was marked, and the creature found a way to the North American continent to get them, like another, like a separate Hakishaku-sama. Like, because that's the thing. Like, are there like you could take some liberties that like maybe there's more than one Hakishaku-sama.
Yeah.
Like, and the one that hunted you or hunted your character in our more modern game was not the first one to continental jump or leap continents.
Yeah. There
So
could have been a lot of people that were like, this could be like a DNA genetic thing. Like if your line has been tagged, so to speak,
yeah.
and I will let me add another little pin in your to tie it to Kentucky.
Mm-hmm.
In Georgetown, Kentucky, which is definitely within driving distance of Slade, there is a Toyota plant.
Okay.
So there's a lot of Japanese businessmen that are working over here.
Fair. So wouldn't be that much of a stretch that like, again, like even 30, like this and we don't have to use Zen Center as a like directly. We can like make up one
Yeah.
For our game, but basically have like have a Buddhist facility or a Buddhist temple in near Slade, that happens to have had a similar situation that happened in Hachisaku-sama, where like a Buddhist statue or something was defaced or damaged in some way, maybe like through vandalism or through like natural cause. And as a result, the barrier, the prison that was keeping that Hachishaku-sama contained for like 30 years, has basically like left it broken. And maybe the person, maybe it's kind of like either like it is marking new people as a result, or maybe it's going after maybe some of the people in the game are also like connected or tied to its previous victim.
You could use hate as a great example of how you would start that defacing.
I was actually kind of thinking that, not to insult, but that is kind of a thing, especially in this day and age.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically have some like people of a certain attitude, deface like one of the guardian Buddha statues on the at the site, and basically because of that, it allows the Hachishaku-sama to escape their prison. And maybe this one isn't as like nurturing and kind, or wouldn't give you a good ending like yours might have given you in our game. Like maybe because it's more pissed because it got trapped twice.
Give me some set pieces from this. What are, and when you envision this in your head, is there any particular scenes, or how would you use the creature or the environment?
I would say that like, so I'm thinking Hachishaku-sama is like, this one is basically loose in the Red River Gorge area, following an act of vandalism at the local Buddhist temple, and as a result, people are going missing or experiencing really weird like lost time in the Red River Gorge like forests. So I'm thinking like you could do this in like Fear itself, and you guys are playing either like campers that are in the region that this is happening, or even use Delta Green or like a similar kind of maybe even Esoterrorist, or Fear itself again, where you're playing as authority figures investigating the disappearances that are linked to the Red River Gorge, and also like started like shortly after this vandalism of this temple.
Mm-hmm.
And it's all like taking place basically in the Slade region. So like, yeah, we basically take some of the the whistling and like kind of maybe make it like sound more like an owl, or like the Poe thing, but it sounds different because it is a different type of this creature. I'm trying to find a way to link it to your character in Paris, but
yeah. Well, it could have been. Remember, they did that whole deal where you take the family members, all the males or whoever, and you kind of parade the person marked out with them.
Yeah.
so it loses scent. But what if somebody's pretty close and it bird dogs them? So it wouldn't, like, say the person running the temple, like, got a phone call, had to fly up to Ontario, take care of some family matters,
Oh
and then come
shit.
back home, and, sometimes it follows. Now, I just had something else pop in my head because I'm fucked up, but,
Yep.
I like the idea, like, so that creature would take people and, like, possibly just took care of them and gave them a great idyllic life.
Childhood, essentially. Yeah. Like the
Yeah.
eternal childhood kind of idea that we had in our game.
What happens if she's not there to take care of them when she gets sealed up? What if the
Oh,
creature's enraged once it gets out and is free and it goes back to its little sanctuary or whatever it's got? Everyone that loved or cared for is gone, dead, everything's wilted, destroyed, and you're just dealing with a rampaging, hurting.
grieving. Oh god. Okay, so I get so basically like the first time it was locked away, like or like say we'll say like it was locked away underneath or in the temple again. Um, it left a bunch of like basically like a bunch of its like victims or children in that other space, and like they basically like faded away because without her to be there.
Yeah,
And so yeah, when she returns to that space after she's freed from the vandalism, she basically she freaks out and is basically in mourning. So now we have like basically a lady in white or like a lady in black kind of situation where like they're in mourning of like their lost um, friends and children. Um, and so now they're trying to like cope in the Red River region.
yeah, and, I you could either destroy it or you could offer yourself up as tribute to rebuild the
Rebuild her
thing.
flock.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that just
Um,
that just sounds like I mean, you would I like the creatures that are able to be sympathized with.
Yeah, I think another idea, like I like the idea of like maybe one of the Buddhists from this temple were actually sent or went up north, like to Ontario, to deal with our situation,
Mhm.
and that's so then we like flash forward to like maybe about 10, 15 years from then, and that's where we have like the Red River incident,
Yeah,
and then so the investigators are they found a link between the disappearances in Red River and this temple, and they go to talk to the temple people, and the guy there, like unfortunately he arrived in Ontario too late. Like he tried to catch a red eye, but he didn't get there in time. So he basically just ended up going back. But he knew about the encounter, so he basically gives the investigators the number essentially for like a Skype call, and we kind of do the movie Sinister thing where like the main character is talking to another like person in the know via like a FaceTime kind of call, and so we're basically contact that's when we contact your character in Paris at that Buddhist temple, because it'd be like a few years in the future, so it would like we'd have time like for like hell you can do that now in technology wise, so
yeah.
like have that kind of like sense of like indirect communication with like somebody who's in the know.
Hmm.
Like maybe the person like went up, but they just knew that they had to go up there and help their family, and then they didn't get there in time to like, or like they basically everything had been done by the time they arrived, so they just kind of went back.
Yeah,
But they know of the situation, that they don't know like all the bells and whistles. So, and when the investigators like ask if well, who can help us, they're like, oh, I may know someone that can give you you guys a hand with this, but he lives in Paris, so here's his
yeah.
number. And then we cut to them calling your character 10, 15 years later, living in a Buddhist temple. And then we watch your character roll sand as he's told that there's another one.
And then you end it, the last phone call with, like, on the like, the scene of the game, you call 'em back up, you're like, everything's great," and then the third voice comes on the phone
He's just
saying,
oh 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 that would be like she found him. Oh my god. Yeah, basically do it like Sinister 2, where like the researcher ended up getting attacked by Bagul. I don't know if you've ever seen the Sinister movies, but that's
I know they exist, but no, I never
yeah.
did get a chance to see them.
They're not bad. They're actually it's a nice like take on like creepypasta-esque horror and like urban legendy kind of like non-secular kind of demon stuff.
Yeah.
Like the kind of stuff you'd see in like a Slender vlog or like not a Slender vlog, but like a creepypasta.
Okay. That sounds pretty cool.
Mhm. Are there any things that you would use for the story that weren't directly just like us trying for brute force hacking our Hachisaku-sama sequel into this?
Well, my suggestion would be what I would do to fix this story. So I'm kind of thinking of it from a narrative, like structurally written standpoint. The second act is worthless, does nothing except that
Yeah,
there's whistling in a car, and that's supposed to be
and
scary.
the kids are high.
Yeah, the
And just
kids are high.
yeah.
So I now that region is cell phone service is spotty at best.
Ah, yes,
So
I
I
can
like
relate with that.
I like that. I like being able to cut you off. Real
Yeah.
luck. No, you don't have any service. But what if this gigantic creature, this Eastern Kentucky dolphin, what if it kind of just pillages your mind, so to speak? So
Ooh.
the person that you see like walking down the trail with a light, just very much on autopilot, is someone that this creature has gotten a hold of and has just taken what it wanted, like mentally or something like that. Uh,
So it's a cognivore.
yeah.
Like
So
it devours thoughts and or
mm,
brain patterns, basically.
yeah,
I love that idea. Sorry, I just like the idea of like aliens that or like creatures and aliens that like they feed on brain waves, basically.
yeah. A-
Um, yeah,
And well, but that would just basically be everything I built around. Like would encounter her as a group. I would do it as for itself because it lends itself so great to the genre.
yeah.
They would make it down, make it up, or I do the story as it happens.
Mhm.
They make it up to the top for some damn reason, and then they
Sure.
come back down, and then
Yeah.
they have their encounter. There's the crashing, and are you familiar with the reverse Hydra?
Yes, I've heard the term. I can't hang on. I've heard the term, but I've not.
I've seen people do it in D&D,
Reverse
but
Hydra.
reverse Hydra
Oh
or
God, yeah.
or is it false
The thing
Hydra?
that's
False Hydra.
the thing that's based off of the Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, no hands monster
Hmm.
is I keep yeah like I've the yeah I saw actually I think Travis sent me a link to an article about it or like stats for it.
Yeah, that's where I first encountered it, and I saw it
Yeah.
somewhere else. But I like the idea of you hear the crashing and stuff like that going
Mhm.
through the woods. You make it back to the car. You're driving off, and you look down, and there's another backpack there.
Oh God. Yeah.
So, like the way this creature was statted out, like when it gets someone, they just disappear, like from everyone's memory, like they did not exist.
Yeah. So kind of like a skinwalker, like an internet skinwalker, like trope, but a little bit more involved than that,
Yeah,
and not calling it a skinwalker.
I like the idea that even when it gets a hold of you, it doesn't devalue you and you're gone. It's just you're just floating. So like that girl on autopilot going around, like
Yeah,
you've been wiped from existence and everything, but in physicality.
yeah. Basically, you're just like a blank slate kind of thing.
May even be fun to like. I hate to railroad a game too much, but I think it would be an interesting plot device if ultimately your entire party gets wiped like that, and you're kind of stuck in a world where you're the only ones that know you exist. Does that make sense?
So yeah, I'm just wondering how you do that.
I don't know. It's just
Yeah,
I'm kind of spitballing there. Kind of
and
I wanted to tie in the Hydra's element of like people disappear from memory and all that, but I also like the idea of just it's just devouring your
your
cognitive,
identity.
yeah, your identity and stuff like that. So I don't know how I would work with it. But yeah, I think that I would honestly just have that woman be a victim, and then it's after
See,
you.
yeah. See, my idea for the girl was actually use her as a lure. Like it's a the creature pulls her image. It basically meant like psychically deep fakes itself by pulling fragmented imagery from the person it's in front of memory. So like the girl looks human but is acting and speaking and like it looks and speaks and acts wrong, like because it's basically a deep fake of pulled from like several different memories in the people and that the creature's in front of.
Yeah,
So like I don't know if you're familiar with deepfake,
yeah,
like deep faking. Yeah, like basically the computer generated people.
hmm
Like these aren't real people, but they sometimes their photo, the program is able, the AI is able to like construct an actual like believable looking person. Sometimes from
yeah.
like sometimes you get really weird things, but like otherwise, yeah. Um, and again, it's like from that cognivore thing. Like it basically is, it does that as like to like kind of as a form of camouflage while it's siphoning
Oh,
your thoughts from like for its meal.
I got it.
Um, and the lost time is kind of
Okay.
a circumstance as a result of like you losing some of your thoughts. You're losing memory, basically,
Yeah.
kind of thing.
We should probably just make Miguel Pizza the main villain.
Really,
Yeah, no, seriously.
Miguel
Like, hear
Pizza?
me out. Like, what
Okay,
if
yeah.
they're sitting there kiting people up to that thing as a sacrifice of some sort?
Oh god, they're the cult too. Okay, so here's the other idea I had that like as you were talking about like the reverse Hydra and the fact that the creature like the person is just like kind of robotic and going, and then we find like a backpack at the bottom. I was honestly thinking using Trail of Cthulhu and
Okay.
making or Call of Cthulhu or Delta Green. Maybe Call of Cthulhu more than Delta Green because I want like we want to play as like other campers in this scenario.
hmm
Um, it's a Shoggoth Lord.
Ooh.
Um, because I mean we were even jokingly saying the whistling was like Tekalili, Tekalili.
Yeah.
What if the Miguel's Pizza is a cult to a Shoggoth Lord that has come out of some hidey hole in the Red River Gorge? Like I imagine the Mammoth Caves kind of intersects the Red River Gorge.
No, it's a,
No, damn it.
it's you're going east to southwest,
All right.
kind of.
Anyway, okay. So regardless, okay, no Mammoth Gorge. Forgot I said that. There's just some kind of there's a Shoggoth that's come this far inland and up north from Antarctica for reasons, because who knows how long it's been literally eons since they rebelled against the Elder Things,
Yeah.
and like continental shift is a thing. So there for some whatever reason there is a Shoggoth Lord living in Red River Gorge, and it
Well,
is amassed a small cult in Miguel's Pizza. And that's where you get like its ability to shapeshift and absorb people. So that's where we get the person with the girl that is like acting so robotically and forced to act like humans.
yeah.
And then you also get that like the creepy whistling and like the creepy like bird sounds and like the weird all the eyes they see in the woods are actually just one entity just like slithering by.
Yeah. Which is, all right, here's my last suggestion for this. Sticking with Miguel's Pizza. So you go to the place. Oh, where are you kids going? Oh, time to add a little bit of drugs to your food. So they're doping them up,
So they
and then
weren't weren't smokers before. It was
yeah,
all an
like,
inside game. Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, like, I kind of like the idea of it not being anything supernatural. I kind of like the idea of it being more of a wrong turn.
Oh God.
Hillside Texas Chainsaw Massacre thing. If we're gonna lean
Uh,
into this
we're just gonna
inbred
leave heavy
hillbilly
into the
stuff,
redneck monster. Sorry.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, I, I mean, I would never. I don't know if I would actually do that game myself. I'm kind of a little sensitive on those things, but like, yeah,
That's
it
fair.
would
Yeah.
be like a
Maybe don't
human.
call it Miguel's. Maybe like
Yeah,
rename. Maybe like again, like we did with the Buddhist temple. Maybe make it a different, like a not that. Maybe make it like Luigi's,
yeah.
or what's the Spanish name? Juan's.
Yeah. Jose's.
Yeah, Jose. Yeah.
And all the locals call it Joe's. But
Yeah, exactly. Or Josie's. Yeah.
yeah,
God, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
and you
Non-white people.
and then we're going to tie it
Uh,
in with the whole like that area is actually fighting development and stuff like that. And
yeah.
I mean, I would like to actually make the entire place like when you isolate somebody, that's when it gets scary. Like you had me isolated in an apartment and I couldn't do anything. Like you're in a community that is totally suspect and you don't know who's an active participant and who is just ignoring
Like, who are the
everything.
cult members and who's like the people? Yeah, you'd almost have uh like the Clue kind of thing. Like, it's like who, or not Clue, but like, again, like, who can you trust in this community? Like, that you're, or like who other, which one of these other campers or hikers are also in on this, and who's not?
Yeah.
Like, yeah. Yeah, I like that. I also like really liked the idea of like, yeah, it just being straight up a Bigfoot hunt, and the Bigfoot has mange. And that's why it's out there, like, and like being more obvious than the rest of its kin, is because it's literally, because the whole thing about Bigfoot, like in Bigfoot like mythology, is that like the reason why we haven't caught any of them or seen any of them, like, or even found any bones or whatever that is because they're actually like purposefully avoiding us and like burying their dead. So that's why we've never found, and like they bury them in a special place, in like a certain place, like almost like a mass grave kind of thing, and that's why we've never found one. Why we've only seen sightings, and like, or we've only gotten sightings and stuff like that, outside of, it just being all a hoax.
Yeah.
But yeah, I like the idea of like, oh yeah, what if one of them contracts rabies? Like, it's an animal that lives in the woods, like deals with wilderness just like any other animal. So like, why wouldn't it possibly catch like rabies or mange,
Could be
and start acting funny?
zoologists, veterinarians.
Yeah.
I just made that up just now
I know.
on the spot.
That'll be the time watch game. It's like, all right, guys. or just the esoterist game. It's like, all right, so we know monsters exist. We've been keeping them a secret because shit can get even worse if people know things happen.
Mm-hmm.
We got to go treat this Sasquatch because it's broken out of its or we just go like Troll Hunter. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie.
Oh, I love Troll Hunter.
Yeah, Troll Hunter, where like the government is like keeping like trolls under wraps. Like, we're keeping Sasquatch under wraps because North America has Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Like, we need power lines in northern Norway because Norway has trolls. That kind of thing.
That was such a great movie.
Yeah. I think. Do you have anything else to say about this story, or like about our some ideas for this?
No, I think I'm pretty well tapped on that.
Yeah, I think we've collected as much as we can from this, from the ingredients for this story. Like, it's there is stuff here. It's definitely worth using for some kind of fodder.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I guess we'll go into the outro now. That was this week's episode. If you like what you heard, or if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below, where this gets posted, whether it be on Podbean, Facebook, YouTube, or Tumblr. Adam, would you like to plug your stuff?
Oh, well, certainly will. I certainly do. I would like to talk about the podcast that I run. It's called the Role Playing Exchange. We pretty much an actual play podcast. I do 2 episodes a month, and I have a talkie episode. We also do some special Patreon content. You can find me at www.roleplayingexchange.com. We are on Facebook at facebook.com/The Role Playing Exchange, and I am on Twitter at RPEXCHANGE. And yeah, I always have a good time. We've been doing quite a bit of. We've been working pretty close together the past 2 years, and really enjoyed it. And I'd like to thank you for having me on here, and I look forward to our next creative endeavor.
Yeah, always a pleasure as well. I hope we can finish that one Little Fears campaign that we have. That's another actual, like, another thing we could use for this, another system we could use for this would be just be Little Fears.
Yeah.
Because I believe Travis has rules for playing like older teens in Little Fears. So
Yeah, I mean, there you go. We're coming down from Louisville. We're maybe when you get high, you get more belief points because you're fucked up. I don't
Oh
know.
my god, yeah, no, that's oh god, it tied into your like the Miguel's Pizza being like nothing supernatural, like directly supernatural, like on the site, but like Miguel's Pizza, like there's some kind of plot there where they roofie essentially these poor
Yeah.
kids, or like put like drugs in their pizza or something like that, and like it's some kind of special like hallucinogenic like paranormal like drug or something that like boosts up belief.
Oh,
And then
you're chumming it in. That's what you're doing.
yeah,
It's like, ooh,
yeah,
we got a believer.
yeah, because the way Little Fear's belief works, or you can work it in, is that basically like the kid's belief is what fuels the monster. So, and the monster is like literally spawned out of like childhood fears or the fears. So like they're actually hearing like animal sounds and whatnot in the woods, but because they're tripping balls, they're basically fueling a tolpaic creature of fear.
Okay, I can see that.
Sorry to suddenly jump back into the kitchen.
Hey.
but
I left the stove on.
oh, shit. But yeah, so yeah, no, like yeah, we going back to the outro a bit. Yeah, we need to do some. We need to continue doing some more gaming and stuff.
Oh, definitely.
All right, and that's it for your plug.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Okay. All right. And as always, you guys can contact me, Review Cultist, on Twitter. You can also send us emails at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's ALDENTERIGAMORTIS@gmail.com. Where you can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas or Reddit no sleeps or SCPs. Anything that's internet and most creepy on our email. You can also help support us on Patreon by going to Patreon and looking up Al Dente Rigamortis and selecting the backer tier you'd like to support us at. We have $5 and $2 tiers with special episodes, early access, extra content. To our patrons that are already helping support the show, thank you guys immensely. You're helping keep those hosting bills at bay, and we very much appreciate that. To our listeners, thank you guys immensely, because without you, we wouldn't have much of a show. And for the authors of these stories, even the ones that we poke fun at more than others, thank you, because, well, without you, we definitely wouldn't have a show or reading material. So thank you. Until next time, I've been your host, Review Cultist.
And I'm Adam.
And this has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Sleep well.